Center of Excellence in Safety Engineering and Analytics, CoE-SEA, wholeheartedly welcomes all our dear participants to week 70 of the Weekend Talk on Safety Engineering Management and Analytics. The event is conducted under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, which commemorates 75 years of India's independence. Today, we begin with this beautiful slogan, Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya. Praying to Almighty to lead us from ignorance to truth, from darkness to light, and from death to immortality. Now, let me welcome our dignitaries onto this virtual dais. We have Professor J. Maiti, who's the chairman of the center, Professor Obi Krishna, who's the convener of the event, and our expert speaker for the day, Mr. Chandrasekhar N. Mr. Chandrasekhar N is the Chief General Manager of Operations at BPCL Mumbai Refinery and is a chemical engineering professional with 30 years of rich experience in refinery operations, process engineering, process optimization, refinery economics, oil movement and storage, project engineering, HSSE, reliability and digital technology. He was instrumental in the commissioning of many projects, which includes the integrated refinery expansion project, which made the Kochi refinery the highest crude oil processing oil PSU refinery. As a manufacturing in charge of the Bina refinery, he contributed to improving the on-stream availability of all the process units, which resulted in strong financial performance and handled the first turnaround of BORL successfully. He is currently the head of operations at BPCL Mumbai Refinery. CoE-SEA is very privileged to have you today with us, sir. We are very grateful to you for accepting our invitation and being here to deliver a lecture on process safety management in petroleum refinery. Thank you so much, sir. Now I kindly invite Professor Krishna to formally welcome our expert speaker.
Thank you, Sween. You have introduced very warmly the speaker. Very nice. And I'm very happy that today's speaker is a great expert, specialist in various facets of refinery. More attracted to me is the refinery economics, you said, because the COE is also working on operational safety economics, one of the specialization to take how process safety economics is more important. So I am very thrilled to hear this word in his introduction. Of course, he is right from the projects to commissioning to operations. He's an expert in the refinery. So today's talk, definitely I know all the participants will be very well benefited because, gentlemen, as I said earlier, process safety is very, very important, which is basically an engineering safety. So it has to be addressed in a different way. If anybody of you have seen the Baker panel report, you'll understand the importance of process safety. So with these few words, I hand over to Mr. Chandrasekhar to you to take your topic. Thank you and welcome back to you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, Sween. It's really a privilege for me to, talk to you, all of you today. In fact, talking to a learned group of academicians like you always inspires me. It inspires me to learn more and to understand more and to give more to the society and to the nation at large. And thank you, Sween, for a good introduction. I will try to make that introduction to be, honest and justifiable. I will do my best. So we start this today's, what I should say, a talk or a discussion or whatever it is. It will be, I plan to take it for about 30-35 minutes, followed by some question answers. And of course, I'm always approachable. If you've got anything more to ask to me after this meeting or talk, you can always address your questions to Sween and Sween will send it to me and I shall answer them as quickly as possible. Today's topic will be process safety management in a petroleum refinery. Now, this itself is a topic with a double-edged sword because a petroleum refining being hazardous petroleum refining industry itself is a very complex place where you have exacting standards of process operations, temperatures, profiles at every stage. Now, is it not mandatory to have this safety standards? Yes, we do have safety standards, but as professor also explained, now we are now trying to go one step further in introducing a qualitative based or a economic based process safety management in the refineries, so that we are able to quantify and qualify each and every risk that we are going to take, and the mitigation measures and the control measures. See, ultimately it is the responsibility of each and every refiner, wherever he is in the world. He is operating a refinery, oil refinery. Anybody entering his compound, anybody entering into his periphery, he is responsible for their safety. And each person coming inside has to go back to their homes safely. That is our motto. Next slide, please. Next, please. Yeah, this will be the agenda for the day. I'll give you a short refining introduction about our refinery and the different recommended standards for process safety management. Why at all we require process safety management, origin of the process safety management, the role of senior management in process safety management, and the journey of PSM at Mumbai Refinery, and learning from an incident which has really opened our eyes. I will touch upon it at the last. Next. So I work in Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, a Maharatna company in India. We operate 3 oil refineries in India. The 3 refineries are located at Kochi in the southernmost part of India, in Mumbai, the west coast of India, and in Bina, the central part of India. We have a total refining capacity of 35 million tons per year. All our products are available pan-India, and we have the product pipeline from Mumbai to Kota to Delhi. From Bina Refinery, the products come and join at Kota. From Bina Refinery, the product go up to Kanpur, and from Kochi, the products can go up to Karur. And there is the long coastline of India, which carries the products from Mumbai Refinery to Kochi, Paradeep, Vizag. We are also extremely well connected by rail, by trucks, and we have installations across India. We operate around 23,000 retail outlets. We have about 15 installations. So we are truly a Maharatna company. And of course, this we give you the range of crudes that we have processed at our 3 refineries. At Kochi, we are ventured into the petrochemicals by manufacturing the Asia's largest acrylic acid plant. We are a BS6 refinery. We produce fuels complying to BS6 standards. We are a IMO compliant refinery. We can process a variety of crudes, and we are strategically located. This is a short introduction of our BPCL. Next, please. It's a nostalgic picture. Very dear to me. In 1955, we had this refinery commissioned at Mumbai, and this is a picture of the refinery at 1955. Now, I will draw your attention to the next slide now. Next slide, please. And this is 2022, the same place. Viewers can see that how complex our refinery has been, and how efficiently we have used every inch of the space in the refinery. And what was a 2 million refinery in 1955 is now operating at 15 million refinery at the same place. So which brings safety to the paramount, and safety measures, safety standards, safety management. Every step we take in the refinery speaks of our safety standards. And we are also a very, very environmentally conscious refinery. Next. Yeah, another logistic linkages to see the length and breadth of the refinery. We receive crude from tankers, we process them, we store them in the storage tanks, and we are well connected by rail, truck, pipelines. And as I said, we have a very strong pipeline network wherein 90% of our products move through pipelines. Thereby, we can our refinery qualifies to be called as a silent refinery. Next. Now, coming to this important topic of process safety management, why at all we require process safety management? Why is it that we pay more attention to safety? Why is that safety is now non-compromisable? Why is it that safety has got a paramount importance in everything that we do? How safety affects us, how safety affects our fellow workers, how the safety affects the community at large. Basically, as the saying goes, safety starts with us. But when you are working in a company where you are dealing with multicultural, diverse group of people, we require a proper process in place to take care of safety. The process safety management also helps us to develop a system for safety so that the personnel, staff, or officers, or chief general managers, whoever it may be, is immaterial. When the process is in place, the process will take care of the requirements. Thereby, any worker occupying that post, will know what is to be done, and the system will take care of the safety requirements. One needs to respect and obey the system. That is why safety management in oil refineries is very important. And of course, the concept that what we are going to talk today can be extended to any industry. Can we move, Spin? Yeah. There has been a lot of incidents, a lot of things that has happened in the country, in the world. The Bhopal disaster in 1984 caught us unawares, and we had a bomb sitting in the middle of the city, but nobody knew that it was a bomb. And once the methyl isocyanate escaped out, there was no way it could be controlled. Nobody knew how it could be controlled, how it could be controlled, and what sort of damage it will do. So this was a wake-up call in 1984, but the wake-up call has got too much. Wake-up call has come at too much expense that cannot be quantified. Of course, the Piper Alpha platform, where 167 people lost their lives, and the Flixborough disaster, 28 people have lost their lives. See, these are all recorded, catastrophes, but there are many catastrophes, many damages that has happened which has not gone, recorded. But these are all standing testimonials on why one should improve the safety in the refineries. Next. So what is one common thread that is connecting Bhopal, Flixborough, and Piper Alpha? It all indicates the lack of process safety management, the lack of procedures, the lack of systems, and the disrespect to the alarms, the disrespect to the values that has been shown by the dial gauges, pressure gauges, and no proper documentation was done, no proper handing over and taking over of shift duties. So one can go on and on, but what we are now trying to do is that we are trying to bring all these concepts, all these practices into a structured program called process safety management. Now, the next slides will now describe more about the process that we are going to follow. Yeah, thank you, Sven. Then now we go to the next slide, a very interesting slide. What is the difference between personal safety and process safety? If you look at, if someone plots a graph with the frequency of the incidents on the y-axis and the severity of the incidents on the x-axis, you can divide this graph into 4 quadrants, and the low frequency, low severity, and the high frequency, high severity. These are quadrants which depict what is actually happening in the ground. So if you look at the low frequency, high severity incidents, these are all process safety related incidents which can be correlated to industry scenarios. And the high frequency, low severity quadrant, that represents the personal safety incidents. Okay, for example, a road accident. If you look at the statistics, it is high frequency and low severity. Or of course, low severity, I mean to say that, there can be injuries, there can be bruises. Fatality, we are not counting it at this stage, but it is again the normal road accidents, road mishaps that takes place. But if the same thing happens in an industry, it may be of a low frequency. It may happen once. Bhopal may never get repeated. Piper Alpha may never get repeated. But only one incident is required for for causing the damage that will be permanently etched in our memory. Next. And I also I want to tell all my viewers that wherever I have taken data from published journals and authors, I will be giving the credits at the end of the slides. Okay. Then now let us move on to the origin of PSM and where we are today. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now I'll just touch upon the process or path that we have followed till date. The Center for Chemical Process Safety, it is called CPS. This is developed by the American Institute. So they actually laid the foundations for the process made safety management in chemical industries. In chemical industries, we mean that it is chemical industry, petrochemical industry, oil refineries, and everything that has got to do with chemicals. They created 4 foundations for the CPS. One is, what is the commitment of the industry towards the process safety? How do we understand the hazards and risks? How do we manage safety? And what do we learn from this experience? And finally, how to apply these experiences in our day-to-day life and what changes we are going to make the workplace a very safe place. Actually, they had designed 20 elements, and these 20 elements are broadly divided into the 4 major topics that I have said on the right side. Next. Then the first foundation, the first pillar, I should say, commitment to process safety. The 5 pillars are developing a very, very strong and robust process safety culture, compliance with all the standards, local, national, and international standards, competency development of the personnel who is either developing these standards or using the standards or implementing the standards, involvement of each and every person inside the refinery or inside the factory, and how do we educate the stakeholders in process safety. These are the first 5 pillars or the first 5 foundations. Next. The second foundation is to understand the hazards and risks. And this is broadly defined in 2 pillars. One pillar is process knowledge management, how effectively or how deeply or how strongly you know the process, how to identify hazard and risk analysis, and how do we expect our personnel around us to know what is a risk and how the risk is being qualified and how the risk is to be quantified. Next. The third foundation is managing the risk. See, you have identified the risks. Now you need to have a strong support system for managing the risk. How will you manage a risk? Supposing you have identified a risk, now how to manage it? You should have very strong operating procedures, very safe work practices. This includes a robust work permit system. You should have data on asset integrity and reliability. You should educate and train your contractors on the type of safety standards that is to be followed inside your refinery. Continual training and performance assurance, ratings, retraining, relearning is to be established. A very, very strong management of change procedure has to be maintained. Even if you touch a small valve in a process plant for repair, it should be governed under a management of change. Immediately, it should be updated in the P&ID. How ready are you to operate this plant 24 hours? What are the tools that you require? How do you conduct your operations safely and effectively? What is to be seen? How is to be seen? And how do you use your three sense organs, your sense of smell, your eyes, your ears, for effective safety management? And last but not the least, how you effectively manage your emergencies. Emergencies can occur anytime. Emergencies need not give you a warning. A plant can trip anytime. In that case, how do you protect your plant? How do you protect yourself? How do you protect the company? How do you protect your environment? And finally, how do you do all these things in a safe manner? Next. The fourth foundation is learn from experience. This is very, very important because if you are having a near miss or if you are having an incident and you do all the root cause analysis, what do you learn and how do you apply your learning in the manuals and in your procedures so that these incidents don't repeat again? So here we rely on the four pillars like accident investigation, measurement and metrics, auditing, management review, and continuous improvement. So these are the four pillars which come under learning from experience. So finally, when you are building this strong fortress, you are building a strong fort that is managed with 20 pillars of safety built over commitment, understanding, management, and learning. This is how CPS has designed the process safety for the chemical process industry. Now, once this basic pillar or basic foundation has been laid by the CPS, now how do we take it forward? How do you make it adaptable? This is what we are going to see in the next couple of slides. Now, what has happened is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, this is again from the US government, OSHA has adopted CCPS in its 14 elements. So whenever we are going in for OSHA certification, the OSHA certification is revolving basically on these 14 elements, which has been drawn from the CCPS. That is what it is renamed in a different way, but you can see that these are all drawn from the pillars of CCPS. Process safety information, analysis, operating procedures, hot work permits, emergency preparedness, integrity, startup safety review, training, management of change, investigation, contractor safety, audits, involvement, trade secrets. Everything is covered under OSHA. And OSHA normally puts it in the form of a circle so that the axis of the circle cuts across each other so that all the elements are interrelated. And OSHA differentiates it into three types: advanced risk management, control of work, and health and safety management. Next. Now, coming to the next stage, the American Petroleum Institute also has developed API 754 for a recommended practice on process safety. They divide this into 4 tiers, or it is called a pyramid of safety. The tier 4, that is the bottom, it stresses upon operating discipline, management system, and performance indicators. Challenges will be the safety system, or what are the factors that is going to, pull the safety system backward. Then second is events of consequences, and events of lower consequences, and then events of greater consequences. So when you look from bottom to top, it will be lagging indicators, and from top to bottom, it will be leading indicators. Now, having got everything, now how do we compile everything into one platform and how do we go about? So this is where the role of the senior management comes into picture. Next. So we at Bharat Petroleum, after deliberations for over 4 or 5 years across our 3 refineries, have come to a conclusion now that the role of senior leadership in PSM implementation is broadly divided into the following elements: creation of a vision and mission statement, required element implementation on industry scope, selection of the correct element owner for steering individual elements, periodic review, walk the talk, KPI targets and status, review and audit, periodic gap analysis, and way forward and action plan. Also, very happy to tell you that at Bharat Petroleum, safety is directly related to the performance monitoring or yearly target setting or yearly review of each and every staff. One element is always given for safety, and the commitment that he or her demonstrates in safety will fetch him more marks than his competitors. Next slide, please. Now, these are again, it is a summary of whatever I have said till now. These are the different layers of independent protection in the industry. So, process design, process control, operator intervention, safety instrumented system, active protection, passive protection, emergency response. So, these are all classified into loop, alarm, trip, and incident. And the top 3 is for mitigation, and the bottom 5 is for prevention. So how effectively one combines all these 4 elements is the success of the PSM for any industry. Next. Now we are coming to some specific slides on what we have done at BPCL Mumbai Refinery. How is it that we have combined all these things, and what is the journey of PSM at Mumbai Refinery? Ultimately, there may be a lot of theories, there may be a lot of books, there may be a lot of material to learn, but what is going on in the field, that is more important. And the next few slides will describe what we have done at BPCL Mumbai Refinery. Next. So as usual, the process safety management was launched as early as 2020, and we had a vision statement in 2021, wherein we aspire to be a global role model by building a sustainable process safety capability culture and strive for net zero, for achieving zero process safety events by engaging all stakeholders. And we try to adopt the best process safety systems. We adopt the best process-centric, safety-centric approach to design, operation, and maintenance, develop the necessary competency amongst all employees, and ensure availability and reliability of process safety barriers at all times. This is our mission. This is what has been accepted, and we have taken a pledge that whatever we do, it will be governed by these basic principles. As you can see, the mission statement and the vision statement itself now combines many elements that the CCPS OSHA has given us. Next. So what are our core values? We have zero tolerance towards non-reporting of process safety events and maintaining high sense of vulnerability. And in our system, if we find that anybody is violating their standards, violating standard operating procedures, violating the job safety plans, that will be taken up very seriously, and it may even lead to certain deterrence in the form of fines and pay cuts. We demonstrate accountability for all the actions and develop and deliver on process safety commitments. The job safety plans are minimum signed at department level, department head level, so that it is not diluted. Minimize opportunities for errors by complying to the defined operating procedures and design basis for which the plant has been designed. Focused competency development to achieve process safety proficiency and to apply the learning consistently to have a world-class process safety culture and develop and come to a process safety excellence and nurture and sustain all the proactive practices based on mutual trust and respect for all. Why it is important for BPCL is that we have three refineries. The Mumbai refinery was the original BPCL refinery. Kochi refinery came into the BPCL fold in 2006. And the Bina refinery at Madhya Pradesh came into BPCL fold fully in the last 2-3 months only. So three refineries were having three sorts of a culture. So our first job was to bring all the three refineries into one common culture and have one practices which will be common to all the three refineries. Next. So we started our journey as early as 2020. One may ask, sir, Bina Refinery has just joined your fold only now. How it can be, how you can say that you have implemented in 2020? We knew that the merger would take place as early as 2020 itself. And even before the other systems were integrated, we found it prudent to implement the process safety culture first so that integration of all other cultures will become easier. So we had the kickoff meeting in February 2020. We had the PSM gap analysis study done, and we had a consultant to help us, and we had a multidisciplinary team form across all our three refineries to help us achieve this goal. Next. So how does BPCL's Roman fort looks like? So we have taken the essence of CCPS, the essence of OSHAs, and we have rejigged the entire triangle into 17 elements. If you remember, the earlier pillar had, earlier fortress had 20 elements. Now we have rejigged that into 17 elements. The first pillar, first three sets of pillars are commitment to process safety, wherein we have management commitment, measurement and metrics, and employee participation. Understanding the hazards and risks, we are doing it through proper process safety information and process hazard analysis. Then the next one is the core. It gives how to manage the risk, operating procedures, work permit procedures, mechanical integrity, contractor safety, training, process safety competency, management of change, startup procedures, emergency response plan, and hydrocarbon storage and loading. These are the pillars that we are concentrating to manage risk. And incident reporting and investigation system, for all the three refineries, this IRIS, the incident reporting information system, is computerized. Even if a person trips or falls down, that is captured by the IRIS system, and we have a root cause analysis for that also. And any system cannot be made effective without an audit. We have audits at 4 levels to ensure that whatever we say has been followed, whatever has been followed, we have said. Next. We are very happy to say that Director and CEO of the CCPS, Dr. Shakil Khadri, had visited Mumbai Refinery, and he has, gone through our systems, and he has said that probably BPCL has understood and adapted the CCPS system in the best possible way as far as his experience goes. We are really inspired by this visit, and even today, this gives the motivation for us to go forward. Next. Now this brings to some, I have given you some idea about how the process safety management is done in the refinery, particularly at Mumbai Refinery. Now I will just go into one incident which has triggered the need for all these things. This is a live incident which has happened in one of our refineries in the year 2018. So I will just go through that incident. So this happened on 8th August 2018 in Mumbai Refinery. There was a fire incident in our hydrocracker. As the viewers know, hydrocracker is a unit which is operated at very high pressure, with about 180 kg pressure or 180 bar. which desulfurizes the vacuum gas oil and splits the vacuum gas oil into distillable components like LPG, kerosene, diesel, and unconverted oil. And the unconverted oil goes to for LOPS production. And this hydrocracker is a money spinner for the refinery. Next. This is a general diagram of the hydrocracker. This is true for any hydrocracker or any hydroprocessor. You have the feed filters, and you have a heater, you have a reactor. The reactor can be single stage or multi-stage. Then the reactor effluent is cooled by the incoming stream, and before the reactor, the makeup hydrogen is introduced, and the fresh hydrogen is also introduced depending on the level of severity that you are operating. So in this case, if you see, in the reactor effluent circuit, there is a air fin cooler which is marked in the clouded area. Without any indication, without any warning, without any process change, without any warning, there was a fire in this unit. And I've already told, and it is already recorded here, that the unit was operating in its full capacity at about 185 kg per centimeter square. So you can imagine the extent of the plume that would have come out of this. And it took us nearly 45 minutes to identify even from where the fire is coming. We never initially, when we all tried to understand the source of the fire, we never thought that it will be from the top air fin cooler, because the severity was so much. Next. You can see here in this slide that there was a crack in the air fin cooler. The crack has given away all of a sudden. And please remember, this unit was commissioned as early as 2008, and it is working for last so many years without any problem. And in between, every 4 years, we are taking the annual turnaround, and we are inspecting each and every inch of this plant. But still, we were all baffled as to how this equipment can crack. So basically, the fire was caused by a weld crack. Now, how the weld crack developed is a very interesting description, which I'll be telling in the next slide. So what has happened is, when this plant was commissioned in the year 2006, this air fin was ordered from a reputed vendor, and there was a third-party inspection. And this was cleared, and it was in operation for so many years. But there was a manufacturing defect in this, which had gone unnoticed from 2006 onwards. And over a period of time, I should say that there has been a very, very, very slow propagation of that damage, which has led to the ultimate incidents maybe even 15 years later. What I am trying to emphasize here is that we may assume that whatever has been supplied meets the best of standards, meets the best of practices, meets the best of third-party standards. But it is our experience that even such cases, if the party whom you are buying the equipments does not have a proper safety management system, you can be the victim. That is my submission here. Next slide. So basically, that comes to the end of my talk. A short talk, probably. I have given introductions to many, many topics here, many, many theories here. And whatever I have told here, I am just giving you the credits and references. I have taken it from the CCPS, OSHA API sites, and LOPA, and from BPCL incidents, for which I have got the permissions to reprint them. So basically, this brings me to the end of the talk. And again, I submit that, whatever may be the nature of our business, whatever may be the products we produce, this process safety management has to be deeply integrated into our DNA. For each and every job that we take in the refinery or in any of the plant, it should be done under proper guidance, proper procedures, proper permits, and proper supervision. Safety is a continuous journey. Process safety management shows us the road, but we have to travel it. The road is long and winding, but we have to cover this long journey kilometer by kilometer. And at every kilometer, we have to review whether we have come safely, then plan ahead for the next kilometer. This is a journey which will continue as long as this world supports process industries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ashish sir, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Yes, sir. Can you please
Yes, sir. Thank you.
go on?
Yeah. So thank you, sir, for
Yes.
this nice presentation. Now we have some questions in the chat box. I'll take one by one.
Yes.
So first question is, what PSM
Sir, I'm
and
not able to hear, sir.
related to
I'm not able
CCPS
to hear
process
the
safety
question.
management?
Ashish, your voice is not clear. Repeat again. Ashish?
Okay, sir. I'll take over. We have the first question is, sir, what is the trade
Yes, sir.
secrets in OSHA PSM and is this related to CCPS process safety management?
No, Sven, can you please repeat the question?
Yes, sir. What is the trade secret in OSHA PSM and is this related to CCPS process safety management?
Yes, it's a very. I expected this question. See, many times when you are dealing with process licensors, catalyst management vendors, they are introducing this subject or this plant after maybe decades of research. So ultimately, when you try to integrate your local process safety management with their own systems, sometimes there may be some trade secrets or some trade conflicts that can arise. But that can be solved only by free and frank discussion with the licensor to understand more of their requirements for such a system or such a scheme, and have a non-disclosure agreements with them, so that the knowledge that is gained, the knowledge that is given to them or given by them, will be used only for the safety conscious of the plant. For example, they may say that for a particular line, the maximum temperature can be X degrees. And that X degrees, to understand, you need to understand more of that X degrees, so that you can try to build your operating procedures around it. So they may not be readily disclosing why that X is specified. Why not it can be X plus 10, or why not it can be X minus 10. So this will create a conflict. So though the standards like CCPS and OSHAs respect this, but they expect the ultimate user to have a close understanding with the licensor to learn more of it. That is why that clause has been brought.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. The next question we have is, what are the environmental, psychological, and human related factors on which the evacuation of a process plant during a fire breakout depends?
Yes, another very interesting question. See, a fallout of this process safety management in any form you want is the development of an emergency response plan. This is one offshoot of process safety management. So the ERDMP is a complete manual in which each and every employee of that particular plant is mapped, and his role in each and every emergency is mapped. The emergencies can be tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, or level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 1, it can be handled by the local shift in charge level. Level 2 is by the refinery head, and the level 3 where you require the support of other industries coming into the picture. So when you are designing this ERDMP plan, the evacuation system also follows in place. See, from level 1, if the scenario goes to level 2 and later to level 3 means it is a disaster. So it means you have to keep the local bodies, collectors, commissioners of police, and other statutory bodies fully informed. And we should always have the emergency rescue plan in place. And if required, we need to sound the alarm for evacuation of the residents around the area. So what was the failure at Bhopal was that though the people knew that the MIC was very, very toxic and treacherous, there was no system available in that vicinity of Bhopal city in which the local population could have been alerted. Now, what happens today in any modern refinery or any modern industry is we do conduct mock drills every month or every 3 months, as the case may be. And during the mock drills, we even involve the local residents, panchayats, and we involve the municipalities or corporations. We also make them aware that if a call comes from the refinery for such and such purposes, we expect that much response from the local authorities also. We are taking them on board also. Because the basic function is that, or basic purpose is that, we in India, we know that, the refineries or the industries are not separate from the colonies. We don't have an isolated place where a refinery is there and around 10 kilometers or 12 kilometers, there is no population. But in our country, the refinery and the local population coexist. That puts additional responsibility on us. To solve it, have a very strong ERDMP plan, involve all the local authorities, have mock drills, educate them. That is the only way.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The next question we have is, what are the measurable KPIs to the managers of PSM?
I think the answer lies in how you interpret the pillars. It can be drilled down to manager level. It can be drilled down to the shift officer level. So what are the measurable? For example, I can give you how many days you have run without an accident. How many days you have run without a near miss. How many days you have run without a leak in your plant. So you can interpret anything and you can put a standard for yourself. The PSM does not say that these are the KPIs. The KPIs is up to you. You tell what you want, you discuss what you want, you record what you want, you do what you write. That is the simple mantra.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Now, the next question is, looking to one of the foundation block, learning from others, OIST is doing well by sharing incident reports. But can we have information sharing like CSB videos?
It is available. I think academic, of course, they do charge for it. But academic institutions, this is available at a concessional fee or a trial software is available. I strongly urge you to contact CCPS and they are ready to share anything that is acceptable to them.
Thank you, sir.
Of course, YouTube also, there are a number of references. You may please refer to CCPS incidents in YouTube. Lot of material is available.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next question is, what were the challenges in imbibing the principles of safety management to the workers and employees of the plant?
Yeah, it's a very, very perfect question. Getting people on board your PSM is I should not say it is a challenge, it is our responsibility. So when you are dealing with workmen, when we are dealing with unionized workmen, when you are dealing with contractors, contract staff, the skill level of those staff, the implementation of the PSM will have a lot of challenges. So what it requires is continuous training, continuous skilling, continuous upgradations, continuous tests. I will tell you one small example in which BPCL emphasized the requirement of seat belts and airbags. So whenever we found that whenever some people were driving some jeeps inside the refinery, they were not using seat belts. We try to tell them, "Arey, wear seat belt, wear it, wear that." It did not have its effect. Finally, we called them and we brought the jeep manufacturer, and we made the jeep manufacturer explain to the people that, look here, guys, unless you wear the seat belt, the airbags will not be activated. This opened their eyes. They never knew about it. I don't know how many of us know about it, that the airbags of a vehicle will operate only when your seat belt is on. Even at the back seat, if there is airbags loaded for you, unless the back seat belt is engaged, the airbags will not inflate. The recent death of one top industrialist also proves that. So like this, we need to take extra efforts to find out, what makes them understand. And India, it is always a challenge because whatever you say, people will not follow. This puts a additional responsibility on the supervisor to ensure that he has to find out ways and means in which the worker or an unskilled worker, or why an illiterate worker also should understand what safety is. And do you know that we had to train the people for 6 months to put the strap of the helmet, because it is said and it is proved that you can wear a helmet, but unless it is strapped tightly over your chin, that helmet is no use to you. This I am finding even in the roads. Many of my the people who I know, when their children drive their bikes in the road, I take the liberty of stopping and educating them that just by wearing an helmet without the strap is of no use. So ultimately, we need to be safe. We need to understand the safety, and we should make others understand. Some may understand once. We may have to take 2-3 times to make them understand, but we have to do it.
Thank you so much.
See, I'll just conclude by saying one more thing. Another practical example. All of us have traveled in aircrafts, is it not? Every time you travel in the aircraft, whether you are the first time flyer or the 1,000th time flyer, the cabin crew will demonstrate the safety. They don't bother that, whether you know or you don't know, whether you are paying attention or not. They are doing their part. And invariably, I find that heart of hearts, everybody listens to that. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, let me take the final question for the day. Which standard you BPCL maintain for separation distance with existing installation while expansion projects? Is it only OISD standard?
OISD standard is a guidance factor. The PNGRB standards are also there. Now, I believe that the PNGRB is going to be more mandatory than the OSD, for which the government has already formed a committee to look into it. Standards are only guidances. Ultimately, you as a owner should do your homework to see whether in an existing installation, if you are bringing in a new change, whether it is acceptable to you first. If it is acceptable to you, then we can check with the standards whether they also permit. That is what I do.
Thank you, sir. So, thank you very much for this very informative session, sir. We are all very privileged and very thankful to you. Now, I kindly invite Professor Krishna to formally deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Sweet. Before I do that sweet job, please unmute all.
Yes, sir.
I'll take 1 or 2 questions, direct questions to the speaker. If anybody want to ask any question directly to the speaker, you can ask.
Participants can now unmute themselves.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Muralidhar here.
Kindly introduce yourself and where are you from, please?
I am from Bangalore. I am Muralidhar here.
Yeah, what are you doing, Muralidharan?
I am doing safety audits and training, sir. My main job is I am a Government of India approved safety auditor.
Very good, sir.
So, while doing the safety audits, we have seen hazards have been conducted nicely with A3 size sheets, but they will not follow, they will not try to exhibit the flow charts even, which is a basic need to conduct the hazard. That is required, you know that.
Yes.
And the recommendations will not be complied and exhibited to the safety auditors. How can we convince the management?
Murli sir, I can only say that, if such a situation exists in any industry, that is highly unfortunate. The process safety, the process flow diagrams, the piping and instrumentation diagrams are the backbone for any safety management to succeed. The first question I ask any management, you see, I'm also a accredited auditor. I go to the other refineries for audit, and I am also an empaneled auditor for the CoE-SEA. So I do go for audits in other installations. So the first question I am asking everybody is, please bring me your updated P&ID and PFD. And what is your standard of updating this? They can set their own standard. Some may say I will do it every year. Some may do I'll say every 5 years. It's okay. But let me have the proof. I think one has to start from that. And 1 or 2 times, if we stop at that level, I think the conditions will already automatically improve. And as safety auditors, it is our responsibility to put all these on record. How effectively and how powerfully you put it on record, I think I leave it to you.
Yes, we quote the statutory references and potential hazards. We'll do that, sir. Thanks for your response, sir.
Anybody else want to ask anything?
Sir, this is Surendra Mahakalkar. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, Surendra ji. Where are you from?
Yeah. I'm past IOCL, now presently work in KSA, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Hello.
With SABIC.
Yes.
Now, you see, sir, incidents are repetitive in nature. So many incidents happen somewhere and again it is getting repeated. So as a, OISD or as, the other industries also, once the worldwide incident has been occurred, then are we taking the lesson learned from this incident? After taking the lesson learned, are we doing the gap analysis with our management systems so that whatever the gaps available in our management system that we are including? That is a practice available over there.
Absolutely, sir. I think you have prompted me to answer another area. The success of any safety management is to learn from others' experience. Okay. Recently, there was some some mishap at Visakhapatnam. You might know it had something to do with one of the industries there. The moment
LG Chemicals.
Yeah, I didn't want to name it directly, but yes, it is all in public domain now.
Okay.
See, one of the learnings that came out of that incident was that, the storage tanks calibration was not done in time. So this made entire BPCL to look at each and every tank, whether it is a 1 KL tank or a 10 TMT tank, 10 MT tank. And we have a corporate HSC at sitting in Bombay. And in presence of the chairman and the board of directors, this was presented, sir. And I do admit that we were also not 100% perfect, but today we are 100% perfect, thanks to that incident.
Okay. Sir. Thank you, Sweet. You can unmute others. Mr. Chandrasekhar, if you permit, I'll ask 1 or 2 clarifications from you. First, see, LG Chemicals. I don't mind.
Professor Krishna, can you unmute?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just want to tell you, the Center of Excellence in Safety Engineering and Analytics at IIT Kharagpur has been formed to help all the industries, of course, to help the academics also, so that they will excel in the safety management system. Ours is analytics also is there. And this center, we have our safety management system developed for the industries with 22 elements. The main difference is now for process industries, you don't have data. You have only reactive data, that's all. When somebody asked about KPIs, you mentioned mostly reactive data only. Where the data is not available, in the occupational safety, you have plenty of data. You can put a lot of models, but in the process safety, the absence of data, you have to collect data. So that is what our CoE is doing, talking on the weakness parameters and effectiveness parameters. Weakness parameters and effective parameters are the real data of the process safety, which we call a level 2 type of industries. So we are trying to educate, we are trying to help from the CoE side, how to generate weakness parameters, how to generate effectiveness parameters. And that will be the KPIs for the leaders, managers, not the failure or success parameters. That's one of the important purpose of creating. That's why once you have huge weakness and effectiveness parameters, you can apply analytics. By applying analytics, you can get the predictions. Prediction rules you can get. That's why first of its kind, this is Center of Excellence in Safety Engineering and Analytics has been formed.
Because sir, every vessel, chemical tank, CL2, calibration, or monthly the factory and the recording.
No, they are not the. They are the effect. Some of the effectiveness parameters. Weakness parameters is most important. I just want to ask you one thing. This Vizag incident. Vizag is a very popular city, very important city. The whole concentration of Andhra government is there. How come when the incident happens, people are falling on the road? No administration could feel it, understand it, react it. You said you have very good offsite management for your refineries. How come it is not there in the place at Vizag? Can you give some of the thoughts?
Sir, can you unmute?
Sir, it is a topic that is troubling, factory managers like me also. And the moment this incident came to my attention on the next day morning, when the incident happened, I cried, but to remember that, whether it is going to be another Bhopal. And after 84, whether, have we learned anything or we not learned anything? What has happened is that, this factory was operating on and off. That is the main problem. And it was not operating continuously. Any system that doesn't operate continuously, and if it stops, it starts again, it is putting additional stress on the machinery, on the pipelines, on all the pieces of equipment it is having. The root cause, what as a chemical engineer and as a person having 20-30 years experience in 3 refineries in the country, when a plant is running smoothly or when a plant is running continuously, the problems are lower. Whereas plants which are dependent on the market for meeting the requirement, for example, they are producing a particular chemical which is on demand for a particular period of the month, they operate the plant. Here, what is happening is probably, the statutory bodies also probably thought that the plant is not operating continuously. Now, what has happened now is, after this incident, the PESO, or the Petroleum Explosive Safety Organization, has asked all the industries to submit month-wise operating data now. So for that, at least they can be sure whether the plant is operating continuously or not. If it is not operating continuously, then more audits has to be done. Have I answered your question, sir?
What? No. This is not my question at all.
Mm.
I am telling about offsite emergency management. I am talking. The effectiveness of offsite emergency management.
Sir,
I hope in a city like Vizag it is not there. How did you say that you have very good offsite emergency management plant all in your refineries? That is what I want to understand.
Sir, in Bharat Petroleum 3 refineries, as I said, that emergency disaster rescue management plan, that is a document that is available across the people. In fact, if you want, I can show or share one latest copy with you.
No, is the DC
Sir,
involved?
what happens
DC
is
should
that, what happens is that, sir, the district administration also has to be involved in the level 3. And many a time, what happens is that why it has got why Vizag failed was the district administration was completely in the dark of this incident at all times. No mock drills were conducted. No statutory drills were conducted. Then how will the authorities know what is going to happen? And if at all something is going to happen, how they can respond to it? They were not aware at all. Awareness is the key here. For awareness is the key. Who has to give that awareness? It is the industry. It is not the statutory body or the local authorities. I would put the onus completely on the industry only. It is up to the industry to convince the local authorities to come for the level 3 audits. See, why industries are hesitant. I will answer your question in a different way. Why they are hesitant? Because if the housekeeping is not all right inside the industry, then that will be fined. If certain data are not shared with the local authorities, that will be fine. See, at one side you want profits, but you do not want to respect the statutory authorities. It is a result of all this complex process, nothing else.
Thank you, Mr. Chandrasekhar. Thank you very much. It's a good explanation. In fact, the director of factories of Andhra Pradesh is a good friend of mine. I'm aware of some of the problems.
Sir, I will not blame the director of factories at all. I'm saying I am putting the entire onus on the manufacturer of that chemical, that factory manager. No, it is his seat. Last week I have conducted one mock drill in Chembur.
Okay.
The entire Mahul village, my people have gone and alerted people that there is a mock scenario. But look, we have kept so many buses for you. Please get into the buses. Let me check how much time it takes you to take you to 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer away. I am having such type of data with me.
That's good. That's very interesting. Thank you, Mr. Chandrasekhar. Your speech was really extremely good. You have touched many points. Of course, this is the subject which could be talked for months together. So if somebody asks why CCPS has got 20 elements, other OSHA has got 14 elements, so many things keep coming. So thank you very much. And with your interest, with your knowledge, I feel you could be a very good resource for our center.
Yeah.
You can get involved with our academics.
Yes.
The center has been formed by Institute of Eminence, proposal of Government of India, and people like you will be good support and resource to us. Thank you for accepting, first of all, this invitation and giving a beautiful talk, nice talk, to sharing many things to all the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I also thank Dr. Madhu, my friend in CoE-SEA Cochin, who was the instrumental in introducing me to your institute. And
Great.
also, I believe Mr. Menon, Professor Menon, called me first. And then thanks a lot to you and to my dear friend Sween, who was very patient with me. And she made sure that this presentation today went bang on time, and she ensured that everything was in place. Thank you very much, Sween, and thank you very much to you, sir.
Thank
And
you.
if there is anything that I can do for you at any point of time, please let
We'll
me know.
be
I will do
we'll
my
be
best.
definitely in touch with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the purpose of this weekend talks, this is an international platform. The viewers from all over the country is seeing, and later otherwise they will see on the YouTube later, to not only communicate to the society, to identify resource people like you, so that we can take the help. After all, IIT Kharagpur is for serving the nation and world.
Yes.
They are not serving for themselves, it is serving others. I thank my moderators, Sween and Ashish. Ashish had some problem, could not join. Okay, Ashish, I understand your efforts. And all the participants. I know when we started putting this in the YouTube, participants keep telling me that we can see in the YouTube at our own convenient time, especially the foreign people. But today I see a lot of participants. Maybe you are very popular in process safety management.
In fact, I was really afraid to come to this talk because I'm talking to my very, very learned people. I'm delivering this talk. So I was also not very sure. But I think if I have made something to the people to think about and to raise their standards, then I'm successful, sir. That's all.
That's great.
Very
That's
little
great.
step.
That's great. Thank you all. Thank you all
Thank you
again.
very much. Thank you.
And again, I want to tell the viewers, another 5 sessions. We'll be conducting total 75 sessions because Azadi Ka Amrita Mahotsav is 75 years. Afterwards, the first season we'll stop for some time and we'll come with the next variety of communication. Thank you all for participating. Again, next Friday at 8 p.m. we'll be with you, a speaker from academics.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sween. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. The session is over. Thank you.
Thank you.